Hello listeners, you join me today for episode 2 of our On the Grid podcast, and today I'm joined by Peter Sims. Peter Sims is the race director at Brentwood Karting. He also directs the development club at Brentwood. So the development club's been around now for about 2 to 3 years, and the aim of the development club is to turn someone from a karting rookie, give them all the tips and advice they need, put them into our race league, and then hopefully see them on their way to a career in motorsport. So some drivers that started our development club in its short period of time have already turned their hobby into a career and are professional drivers. So we have Peter here to hear his advice, his suggestions, and as you've probably seen on our social media, we've opened the forum to you. So we've asked you guys for some questions which we can put to Peter. So we brought him in today to hear his opinion. So the first one and most important question we have, are you ready for this, Peter?
Yeah.
Is what is your dream car? Like a 5-year-old's question.
Oh, a 250 GTO Ferrari.
Okay.
Just because.
Like a go-to answer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's got to be red.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, all white.
Boring. Anyway, so your dream car's a Ferrari.
That's
like
250 GTO.
every other 14-year-old.
Absolutely.
Okay. Moving on.
What's your dream car?
Oh, my dream car's the DeLorean, the DMC 12, just like the one on Back to the
What
Future.
would you do though once you got it? Because
Drive it.
as long as I've
you
known
asked me a question and I'm trying to answer, but you keep cutting me off. Okay, I'd want 2, and I'd want 3. I'd want one that I can replicate Back to the Future on, and I could leave it. I want another one which I could just leave and not drive ever, and I'd want one that I'd drive. That way, I've got the best of all 3 worlds.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
Would you for the Back to the Future one? Would you do like the whole make yourself look like Doc as well every time you drove it?
I reckon I'd have 2 different changes of clothes. So I'd have Doc for Tuesdays.
Yeah.
I'll have Marty for the rest of the week. I'd need a skateboard and a colourful baseball cap as well.
And shoes that tie themselves.
Air Max.
Yeah.
Nike Air Max.
Didn't they make them?
They did, but every time they actually done the laces up, it sounded like starting a washing machine.
Really?
So it wasn't as quite good as the film made out, but we're
Progressing.
We're not progressing. We're getting further and further away from the actual point of today's podcast. So yeah, my car would be a DeLorean DMC 12. So okay, there's that one then. The irrelevant questions out the way. Next one is this is a question from our Instagram, and it says, "What are the best attributes of a successful racer?" Do you want to answer that one?
We could bounce backwards and forwards on it.
Ooh.
You could have arrogance. I think a bit of arrogance is always beneficial. I think if you don't believe that you're the best person there, you're not going to be. And we do see that with some drivers where they'll sort of question their own ability. And if you're at that stage before you've even got on the grid, you're already 3rd or 4th because there's people who think they're better and therefore it will make them drive better. It's just a psychological advantage. Go on then. What's your one? What would be an attribute?
I'd put it all under one banner of attitude, which I guess answers your one as well. It comes down to self-belief and having the right mindset before the race starts, when the race is on and when the race is finished. And while they're on track, thinking of the right areas, not thinking of what happens when they get a podium or what happens if they do or don't get a podium, thinking about each lap at a time and what they need to be doing, where they need to be placing their car, and just making sure that they're always in the moment thinking about what they need to be doing rather than what could happen, who knocked them off and how they're going to repay them when they come off the track, and things that are just not very important at that moment in time.
And on that note as well as the ability to, especially with our league, for example, the races aren't that, there's not much time between the races, so the ability to have a bad race and then to go into your next one and forget about what occurred.
Look at that, look at us always being sensitive.
I know, definitely.
Cool, so there's that one done then. So we're going through these questions, all right, aren't we? So the next one, what's better, Lakeside or Brentwood?
Brentwood. It just is.
I don't know if we can leave that in.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, why?
Well,
we both work at Brentwood majority.
True, but I was discussing this with somebody yesterday. I said that I think it depends on what you want. If you want a very corporate experience, you know, if somebody came to me and said, I want to book an event for my business to come down with 20 employees, I'd probably send them to Lakeside, because, you know, you've got the main building, that sort of stuff. It's a lot nicer, it's warmer, looks nicer. But if you wanted to improve and become a professional racing driver, or if you're there for the racing, I definitely think Brentwood is by far better than probably any other circuit in the UK, because we just have a better attitude towards it. I think we're better equipped to be able to support drivers, and we're also more fun. And we have a good laugh as well with the customers, which is always good. So I think for a fun experience here, for a corporate experience, Lakeside.
You said for a fun experience. All right. Okay.
Here, oh yeah, well, Brentwood.
We're currently at Lakeside. So
well, yeah, but it's habit.
Okay. Just I agree. I think it depends on what you're looking for, and we're both talking from a racing background, motorsport in general, so we're obviously going to go for the answer, which is where it seems to run rife. So is that a word?
Yeah.
I got it right?
I think
good. Done well. And that's at Brentwood rather than Lakeside. The next question I won't read out, I'll just show you.
Oh,
we can't read that one because it creates arguments.
Well, it doesn't really create arguments because we both know the answer to it. It's Brentwood. Brentwood's better.
Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, we can.
One at the top?
Yeah.
Are you ready for that one?
Yeah.
I haven't felt a knot. There we go. Right, Peter, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
On a yacht in the Bahamas.
Done. See?
Excellent.
How quick was that one?
That was the fourth attempt to do that one.
Looking down on the peasants.
Yes.
Get off my boat.
Oh.
So that is pretty much some of the questions I have. I'm now going to look at Joe, and Joe's going to give me another question. Oh, he's showing me.
Can we have a last lap board? No. You should, if you've ever been in, another good example is if you've been in football, you always get told to play to the whistle. Same with racing. Keep racing until, you know, the checkered flag comes up. I mean, all a last lap board does is cause chaos.
Create carnage.
Yeah. Because
last lap to kill the person ahead of you.
Yeah.
So
it's like I now know that I have to do my do or die move right now. So it doesn't matter if they are a foot away.
Last lap board is like explosive imminent. You know, it's one of those you have. This record will don't do records anymore. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, it would be really cool to watch. Don't get me wrong, but it just would cause so much.
Yeah, I'm talking quite a lot of times on the league. We'll actually hide the checkered flag, even on the last lap, so that the person in 5th place doesn't see it early, and then just catapult himself and the car across the grass and somewhere into about 2nd position. So last lap board isn't a good idea. We don't want to really introduce it. It just creates World War III. I'm going to look at Joe again, who's going to show me.
Why did you choose Sodi
and what persuaded you? So why did we choose Sodi and what persuaded us? Shall I answer that one?
We can both do it.
Okay, you answer it then.
I'll answer it. Well, I know for the original plan was that we wanted to switch to LPG for the next fleet of karts because it was more cost efficient, better for the environment, that sort of stuff. And so it came down to Biz or Sodi, and Sodi had already had a gas kart that was in production. Biz didn't, I believe. They made one specifically for us. And I think at the end of it, after testing, we just felt that the Sodis were better for the track.
Yeah, that's one answer. I think another thing is opportunity. I think with Sodi and the Sodi World Series and their investment into making something more than just a go-kart to go around on was one of the main things I enjoyed. I know there's different opinions on Biz and Sodis and gas and petrol, but I think Sodi had the World Series, a worldwide event where they treat people who do well and take them to a world final. So we have a Brentwood driver, Bo Sullivan, will be going to the Sodi World Finals. He would have not had that opportunity with Biz karts. We've had another Brentwood driver who used to race at Brentwood, still does now and again, who qualified for the Sodi World Championship final and won it twice as a driver at a different track because we did not give him that opportunity to do so. That driver then went on to be a Ginetta racing driver, now races Mazdas. So
had his first win at the weekend.
He did. Do you want to say his name?
What? Matt Fluff.
There we go. Yeah. So with Sodi, it gave us a lot more opportunity to do more than just provide a go-kart for them to go around on. It gave them exactly what Brentwood Karting is looking for, and that is an opportunity to make someone from a karting rookie into
a professional driver.
There you go. So I'm going to look at Joe for the next question, and it is, what do you do with the money you make on Sunday? I think the money we make on Sunday and every other day of the week goes back into maintaining the karts, maintaining the track, staff wages. The outgoings to run a kart track is massive. You look at the land it takes, especially on a large outdoor circuit. You know, if they had the opportunity to redevelop and put houses on it, they'd sell the land for a lot more money than we make on any Sunday. So I think the money we make obviously goes back into making sure the karts are in the best possible condition they can be in for the next Sunday, the next Saturday, or whatever day it may be. It's a case of just maintaining the service that we're offering and trying as best as we can to improve it each time.
That was a really good answer. Really good. I was just going to say pub.
Yeah. I was going to say, you know those free DeLoreans?
Yeah.
I'm halfway there. Right, so the next question, I'm going to look at Joe, and it says, how did you both end up working at Brentwood and Lakeside? So that's from Max Patworth. He's one of our racing drivers at Brentwood. So do you want to start that?
Yeah, I can do. I messaged you on Facebook. And yeah, I think I messaged you saying, can I have a job?
What did I say?
How much do you want to be paid? And for some stupid reason, I said, I don't know, enough to cover my fuel plus minimum wage. And you went, okay. And here we are 4 years later, still here.
Oh dear, what a terrible decision that was by me. I could have solved most of my problems with the right answer there. I started from, actually went there as a customer. It was my first karting session and I asked for a job. I went for an interview and originally didn't get the job. And as I was leaving the interview, a member of staff said they couldn't work on a Saturday and they asked me to come in and cover their shift. And if I did that, I had a Saturday job. So that's how I started. Many, many moons ago.
Yeah, indeed so.
Yeah. So, next question is another racing driver, and it says, what sets Brentwood apart from the other circuits in respect to youth development? Peter?
The structure that we have in place to develop drivers, and also probably the attitude and motivation of the people that are there to want to develop those young drivers. So when you turn up for an arrive and drive, every single marshal there has some form of experience with our race league. They may have raced in it themselves, they probably worked with drivers there, and then they can spot what we think would be, you know, even if you do a horrendous lap time, they might spot something that they think, you know, you could potentially join our league one day. And then invite you down to our development club. We develop you to a stage where, you know, you can come into the league and, you know, know sort of what you're doing. You won't win on your first go out, definitely won't win on your first go out, but then it puts you in the most competitive junior kart championship in the UK.
Cool. So that's a good answer, isn't it? I think it comes down to a understanding and care. I think you have other circuits who will charge you probably double the price and get half the karting than what Brentwood provides. We have many drivers who have gone through Brentwood with a path which they are choosing themselves to follow, whether it be they want to race on the touring car package, whether it be they want to go into single-seater racing. And we have the ability to be able to put them in the best possible position to pursue their dream, whether that be racing on the touring car package. We can then put them within a team, give them some work experience, or they'll have to earn it their way there. So if they do well in the league, it might be that they have tickets to the event. It might be that they get work experience with the team. We've had many times where certain drivers have turned up for the league as a rookie or the development club as a rookie and gone all the way through, just through Brentwood, all the way through and into a car on the grid in a race without having to spend the thousands of pounds on owning the driver, without having to spend the hundreds of pounds on half the car in our other circuits, because we have the ability and the passion to be able to put those drivers in the best possible position to further their career. Next question. It's a 50-50 and it is best driver, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton.
Oh, Lewis Hamilton.
Michael Schumacher. Why Lewis Hamilton?
Because I think we did this question before with Ayrton Senna, but I think they're better comparisons because they both had very good cars at the times when they were winning championships.
I reckon Schumacher made his car the best. He hadn't won in 21 years.
Well, I don't think you could say that Hamilton didn't.
No, Schumacher did.
Well, I think Hamilton definitely helped.
No, Schumacher went to Mercedes, spent 3 years developing the car with Ross Brawn.
And they were rubbish.
That's why he spent 3 years developing the car with Ross Brawn.
Yeah, and then Hamilton got in it, spent a year developing.
After 3 years of Schumacher doing all the work. And when he won a Ferrari, Schumacher spent 21 years Ferrari hadn't won. Schumacher jumped in.
Well, Mercedes hadn't been around that long.
Mercedes have won more races than any other team in Formula 1. No, they probably haven't. But they're right up there. Silver Arrows have been around since the 1950s.
Well, yeah, but they haven't been there since the start, have they? As in, they haven't run all the way through.
No, they're
Ferrari's the only team that has.
That's right. Well, Schumacher didn't win it from the start, did he?
Well, no,
2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. So I say Schumacher, you say it.
You've missed out quite a few championships there.
That was when he was with Benetton in 94 and 95.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, don't try and pull a Schumacher card on me. Okay. If you're not out Schumacher, you're Schumacher.
Okay.
Right, next question is wet or dry racing?
Wet.
sorry. That makes me laugh so much hearing that. I remember. Sorry, Peter Sims.
No, I agree.
Did a tuition with you, and you were so bad in the wet, I got off the track.
Because you thought I was taking the mick.
Because I thought you were taking the mick. So I would say...
I tell that to every single kid who comes off and is like upset about driving in the wet. That's the first thing I say.
And every single kid probably wasn't as bad as you.
No, they weren't. They weren't at all.
I would say wet because unfortunately I've eaten too many pies now and I can't keep up in the dry.
I think it separates drivers more.
Especially on slicks.
Exactly, yeah.
So next one is day or night driving.
Night.
I personally don't mind as long as I'm not tired.
Yeah, that's true. I like
sleep.
because I'm thinking it more of in sort of endurance stuff like with karting and that sort of thing. But I love that transition from the night time into the morning.
You should just wear a tinted visor. It solves it.
Yeah, exactly.
That
and then you can just lift it up and it's like, oh, it's bright now.
You could have that transition every lap.
I know. But no, it's nice. It's nice.
So next one is, what's your favourite cereal?
I'm on Kellogg's Crunchy Nut at the moment.
I don't usually have cereal.
What, for breakfast?
No, I don't usually eat breakfast.
I don't either.
You said you're on Kellogg's Crunchy Nut?
Well, no, when I'm not working. Otherwise, I'll roll into work, have a Snickers and a Red Bull, and then we'll crack on with the day.
It does roll in as well. I saw Lucky Charms in B&M Bargains.
Really?
Yeah, just over here.
They are good, but
I've never had them. I've just seen them on telly.
It's good that you saw them there though, because if you were to get them at Sainsbury's or something like that, because they're American, they'd probably charge double the price.
Yeah, they were £1.
Really, that's really good.
So
we're gonna go and get Lucky Charms after this.
Yeah, the point of the day. So far in the podcast, get Lucky Charms from B&M Bargains,
and then come to Brentwood Karting
or Lakeside Karting,
but mainly Brentwood. If you want to be a professional racing driver. However, if you want a fully corporate experience, come to Lakeside.
Yeah, I agree.
There we go.
The next question is, if you've been given an elephant, you can't give it away or sell it, what would you do with it?
Race it.
You'd race it?
Race the elephant.
What would you race it against?
I have no idea, but my instant go-to thing is always to race it.
I'd have 3 DeLoreans and an elephant.
Pet elephant.
Exactly, that would be the best garage there is. I'd need a really big garage.
Really, really big, because he'd need wandering room. Or she.
I'll just take it for a walk.
Yes!
I don't even have to
That'd be really good. I'd love that. You know when the people bring their dogs to Brentwood and stuff and they're walking around, just leading your elephant.
Well, you wouldn't need a lead.
What's your elephant's name? Lucky?
It'd be on the elephant. I'd call it Nelly.
Nelly?
Yeah,
Nelly the
elephant.
That's like calling a dog Spot though, isn't it?
Spot?
Yeah, you know, like it's a very generic elephant name.
That was Spot the dog. You gave up thinking about Spot the dog when you're like 4. It'd be Lassie if it was a generic dog's name.
Well, only if it's a long-haired collie. For Chihuahua came in, it's like, what's it called? Lassie. Like, no.
Well, we've gone off the task again, haven't we?
What's your other elephant going to be called? Dumbo, you unoriginal person.
Maybe. Next question is, I've forgotten.
What animal do you compare yourself most to?
Okay.
But
What do you compare yourself
to? Sloth.
Sloth. Why?
Oh, because I wish, I have the ability to sleep 17 hours a day and I don't really do much.
Yeah, true. And you look like one as well.
I do, exactly.
You look like Sid, for my sake.
I do, yes.
I like Sid. I
He's
don't mind
great.
you, but you do look like Sid.
Yeah.
I would say I am... I haven't thought about that. And you're going to say a horse. Yeah. What animal is amazing?
An elephant. A racing elephant called Nelly.
That's it. Oh dear. Is this all I've got to still answer that question?
Yeah, because that can lead in from the last one.
I would say an elephant. A racing elephant called Nelly.
Good.
Or
Spot.
Dumbo.
Or Dumbo.
Yeah. Or a generic dog called Spot.
Or Lassie.
Or Lassie.
Even if it was a chihuahua.
Only if it's a long-haired collie, as Peter would say.
Yeah. Right, next question.
So the next question is...
Design a spice rack for the blind.
I don't even know how to understand that question. So what is spice? Like what you put in food?
Yeah, a little spice, like
So
coriander.
What the problem is how would they find out what spice it is?
Yeah.
I have pins. If the pin's really sharp, it's really hot spice. And it goes down to a sponge at the end. And sponge is like basil. So they touch it and they draw blood. That's a spicy spice.
Right at the end, there's like ghost chili, and it's just like a sword.
It's a sword. No, it's a spinning sword.
Is that a sword blade?
So they touch it, cuts their hand off.
Right, fair enough.
So now they're blind and they've got no hand.
I don't know. That's even too silly for me to comprehend.
Another question is, Peter and Dan, if you had the chance to go back to being 8 again, how would you path out your motorsport career?
Wow, that's a really good question.
It is. Whoever thought of that? Brilliant.
Yeah, I would I'd go to outdoor karting sooner, definitely.
Brentwood.
I'd change my attitude 100%.
200%.
To 3,000%. I'd probably have done more to find myself sponsorship as well. It was at the time when I was going it was the whole credit crunch and that sort of thing. So most small businesses didn't want to invest any money, but you know yeah, definitely. But no, I'd put more effort into progressing it because I think it is possible to do and potentially easier than some people expect it to be, but it is a lot of hard work. And I think I'd have focused more on making it into a career.
You said more on.
More on.
Anyway, I would. I'd go to America.
Really?
And I'd do it all there. Yeah, because they're actually that's warmer, and I think the American racing's just better in America. I think their attitude towards racing and motorsport in general is better. I think you've got much more chance of gaining a career in America in motorsport, especially being English, than you have in England or Europe. Last question before we wrap up what has been, if I'm honest, an hour and a half of pure hell.
But they're going to be confused when this podcast is 5.5 minutes.
We've been at each other's throats for the last very long time, and right now, I'm picturing Peter's face bleeding. So, last question is: what is the worst crash you have had?
You can go first.
Okay. Well, I've seen. Well,
you were there for mine.
Was I?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember yours. Your mum took a photo.
Yeah.
You can do yours first, so
okay.
I can slowly throw insults.
It was at Brentwood. It was an All-Star Cup. We went into R120, which is the first corner after the straight. And as we went in, I was on the outside because it was wet. 2 people on the inside didn't realise it was wet. And they came out, took me into a wall. And as opposed to hitting a nice comfy tyre wall that some people who are listening to this may have experienced, I went into the side of 2 go-karts. So there wasn't really a slowdown, and I fractured my wrist.
Try not to scare him.
Try not to scare him. Yeah, okay.
That was great. Wow, the best wrist fracture ever.
It was really good. It was really comfortable. No, it was a green stick fracture, so it just bent the bone.
So basically it was milking it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But then you jumped down from race control to come and see
Did.
thing.
I remember while he was there getting pulled out of the barrier, his mum ran over to the edge of the track rather than see if Pete was okay.
Started taking
pulled out
pictures
her camera, started taking
with like
photos.
a long range lens, and it was just there is still the picture of me walking back, like tears in my eyes, like most Sundays at Brentwood, holding my arm. But later that evening, you did. I was in A&E, and you came and said,
I saw you at hospital just to make sure. I said, can we unplug him? And he said he's not on life support, so he can't. But no, I did go and check. My worst crash wasn't at Brentwood, so you're feel free to still pop down. Mine was at Ella, actually, and it was in a race series called F4S. And I was overtaken on the inside of going into the main straight, and someone pushed me into a wall, and my right rear tyre hit the wall, snapping the axle, and the axle and the wheel went under the cart, turned the cart up in the air, then pointed me face first into the barrier, then backwards across the track into the other barrier, connecting the cart on the way. So yeah, it wrote the cart off, and it didn't break anything though.
On a completely unrelated note, Dan has a 2006 Tony Kart chassis that he's looking to sell. That has had one careful owner. And,
I actually do. It's still in about 8 bits in the garage.
Yeah.
But there's loads of scuff marks on it, so it looks really good.
Weathered.
That's the one. But that was my one. That was at Ella Park.
Cool.
So that brings it to an end. We go home now.
Yes.
And do something.
We've got, funny enough, talking about coaching, we've got one-to-one to do.
You have.
So yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
I'm going early. They've been calling him. He didn't answer the phone. So
really? Ooh, I might get to go home.
Might be. I do get to go home. But thanks for tuning in for episode 2. We go back on track for episode 3 when Peter isn't here. So thank you very much for joining me, Peter, on our conversation and our trip down memory lane.
It's been wonderful.
I know. Thanks, Joe, for sitting there and not really saying hello in an awful lot.
Yeah.
He said it's fine.
Right. Love you lots.
See you later. Bye.